And he would go to the audience, and the audience would laugh like a bunch of chained seals. And then Dinesh would say, I never said that. When you're having a debate with someone from an opposing viewpoint, it is imperative that you at least present your opponent fairly. Oh, really? Like when you went to prison! You went to prison! So, and I made this case last week that so many people were saying, I used to be fans of the Young Turks until they went off the deep end. And so I showed some clips with my friend Lee Doran and said, no, they've always been off the deep end. You've just evolved. You've changed. And I've received hundreds, maybe thousands of emails this last week from both sides saying, no, I think that I'm still relatively liberal. I think they went further off the deep end than I'd like. And then I've received a lot of emails from people saying, I think you're right. I only saw what you posted with Lee Doran, but I'd like to see more going back, if that's just an isolated incident. So, again, we should probably make this an installment. We need an intro and all of it because I've just got this stuff cataloged. I've been following it forever, and it's just now that people, for whatever reason, can't stand the Young Turks and understand what they do. So this goes back, was this 08? It's 09?
It's old. It's still
old.
in 4-3.
So 09. And this is them with, this is Cenk with Jonah Goldberg back then. So you tell me if he seemed reasonable, right? Back then in hosting a Voice of Opposition.
I suspect a bit of a political conversation. We're going to talk to Jonah Goldberg. He's the editor-at-large of the National Review Online. He's a visiting fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and he wrote the book Liberal Fascism, The Secret History of the American Left, From Mussolini to Politics of Meaning, a highly absurd book. He's now promoting a book he's editor for, Proud to Be Right. That's also interesting. So, Jonah, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thanks very much. I'm assuming you haven't actually read my book, but that's fine.
Of course not, because it has an insane title like Liberal Fascism. Why would I read
a title that
nonsense?
A title that
all right, so there you go. So go back and watch that. I know whether you like Jonah Goldberg or not. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan. I understand that he can be a little self-important, but he has some good writing out there. Is it just me? Does it seem like he was still back then kind of an ass?
Kind of an ass.
Is it just me? No?
I'm going to go with definitely an ass.
Definitely an ass. Okay.
An ass.
Again, I think that you just weren't aware of it. A lot of the people who claim, I was a Young Turks fan. A lot of people woke up with Dinesh, the Dinesh debate with Cenk. You know what? And we might get Dinesh on the show. I've worked with him in the past, and we kind of miss each other, but I really like some of the stuff that Dinesh does. And he's a ballsy little brown man, that Dinesh D'Souza. And I was going to we were talking about this, doing the debate with him and Cenk. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you watch Dinesh and Cenk debating, because it is the perfect example of someone on the right trying to present arguments and trying to have an actual thoughtful discussion of disagreement. And Dinesh, whether you like him or not, has done this for a long time with Dawkins, with Hitchens, with I think even Chomsky, possibly Sam Harris. And then it happened with Cenk. And if you haven't seen the debate, what's so funny is I remember it went out and Dinesh said, who did you think won the debate? And everyone was saying Cenk right off the bat. And I remember Cenk tweeting, when your own people think you lost, it's bad. Well, it's not that at all anymore. If you go and look and see the comments that are like, this is the discussion was pretty much, Dinesh would say, this is paraphrasing here. I remember Cenk said, so, Dinesh writes in his book that, all black people should be grateful for slavery now because their parents were slaves, but now they have it better because they're in America. How many black people here, right, are happy about slavery? Anyone? Of course they're not happy about slavery, right? And he would go to the audience, and the audience would laugh like a bunch of chained seals. And then Dinesh would say, I never said that. When you're having a debate with someone from an opposing viewpoint, it is imperative that you at least present your opponent fairly. Oh, really? Like when you went to prison! You went to prison! Right? He went to prison! And he goes, this kind of language and approach is, of being abusive toward abuse, just like your ex-wife. If you read the divorce proceedings, right? How many people read the divorce proceedings? No one reads your books. Everyone watches the Young Turks. That's the entire debate. At no point does he answer
It is accurate. It's just the most unintelligent conversation.
But that was the debate. I remember, what was it? One point he goes, "Oh, be thankful for slavery, right? Dinesh thinks slavery was great." And Dinesh goes, "Of course, that's not what I said. Why did you say that slavery is bad? What did you say? You won't say slavery? Say slavery is bad. Of course it was bad." He says, "Of course, slavery was heinous and is inexcusable, and I've said that many times. What I talked about was this idea that everybody engaged in slavery across the world, across the entire globe, and people, subsequent generations, have been better off growing up in the orbit of freedom in the United States." Oh, great! So now you're saying because of freedom, oh, slavery, you beat your wife, you went to prison. I just can't. So we try and watch opposition as much as possible. Most of the stuff I read comes from, HuffPo, Salon, all of those sites. I just can't. I don't know if I can do this
Some great
anymore.
thoughts even right there, but you go punch the face.
You gotta punch the face, Union! I just can't watch the Young Turk stuff anymore. So this is where we are. Black Lives Matter. We talked about it earlier. It is more logical to say that a woman aiming a loaded rifle, shotgun at a police officer is exemplary of systemic racism when she gets shot. It's more reasonable to the left to simply accuse someone of beating their ex-wife and pointing out that they went to prison than it is to actually debate and argue ideas. That's where we find ourselves in 2016. And I think a lot of people are waking up to it. If you like this video, subscribe or click what's playing next to me. It's taken from the full show. That's right, every week, the full 2-something-hour podcast.
That's never going daily.
And it's never going daily. Stop asking, but it's free. You can go watch it, play it in your car. It's better than texting and driving.